So yeah, this is it. This is the stack. Here we go. All of these books. This is the haul.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today I'm going to be hauling some books. Now, just to be clear, these are not all books that I just bought yesterday. Like, these are books that I have been kind of collecting over some time. Some of these are actually quite old and I just haven't talked about them, especially the first two. So we're gonna just jump right in. I keep looking at the pile because it's a pretty large stack for me anyway. I'm going to go through them in order of genre or mood, if you will. So we'll start with some of the lighter, happier, fluffy ones, and then we'll work our way down to some of the darker, more horror vibe ones. So the first two are actually books that I didn't purchase. They were gifts, but I want to include them in this haul because I want to give them, the people that bought them for me, a shout out. The first one is Court of the Vampire Queen by, is it Kate Roberts or Katie Roberts? This was given to me by Paula. I will link her channel below. All Mina ever wanted was to escape her father's control. Half human, half vampire. Ooh, that sounds interesting already. It's giving hope from Legacies. She lived eternally torn between two worlds, never fully experiencing the pleasures of either, until her father chose her as a pawn in his latest political move, gifting her to the darkly powerful and dangerously seductive Malachi Zion. This already sounds good. Malachi is not a vampire to be trifled with. He rules with an iron fist and has a reputation for the darkest of sins. But the longer Mina is with him, the more she realizes he's not the monster she first thought. And as fear bleeds into lust, then trust, then something more, Malachi opens Mina up to a world she never knew could be hers for the taking, including the love of Malachi's two closest friends and companions. Okay. Now surrounded by all three men, the center of their shockingly seductive world, Mina may finally have the power to face down her father and take back the life and crown that by all rights should be hers. This sounds so good. Oh my gosh. I put stuff on my TBR all the time and don't remember why, but I remember why. This sounds great. So thank you so much, Paula, for this. The next book is also a gift that I received for my birthday back in March, and this is Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by, who wrote this? Julia Goffney, and I got this from Kiana. It says, Quinn keeps a list of everything, from the days she's ugly cried to things that I would never admit out loud, and all the boys she'd like to kiss. Her lists keep her sane. By writing her fears on paper, she never has to face them in real life. That is, until her journal goes missing. An anonymous account posts one of her lists on Instagram for the whole school to see and blackmails her into facing 7 of her greatest fears, or else her entire journal will go public. Quinn doesn't know who to trust. Desperate, she teams up with Carter Bennett, the last known person to have her journal, in a race against time to track down the blackmailer. Together, they journey through everything Quinn's been too afraid to face, and along the way, Quinn finds the courage to be honest, to live in the moment, and to fall in love. This sounds so cute. Also, I love this cover. This is such a cute cover. So yeah, thank you so much, Kiana, for this gift. Love it. So now we're gonna get into the books that I actually purchased. And the first one is one that if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen me post about this book, but it is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. And this is, I think, her most recent release. I think she has another release coming out later this year. I don't remember when. It might be November, or maybe it's January of 2024. I don't know, but there's another one coming out. But this is the most recent release, and I wanted to pick this up. And I actually have no idea what this is about. I just saw that it was Lynn Painter and it was a new release, so I just bought it off the strength of that. But it says, Haley Piper is turning over a new leaf. After belly crawling out of a hotel room, hello rock bottom, she decides it's time to become a full-on adult. She gets a new apartment, a new haircut, and a new wardrobe. But when she logs on to the dating app that she has determined to find her new love, she sees none other than Jack Marshall, the guy whose room she snuck out of. After agreeing they absolutely are not interested in each other, Jack and Haley realize they are each other's perfect wing person in their searches for the one. They text about their dates, often scheduling them at the same restaurant so that if things don't go well, the two of them can get tacos afterwards. Spoiler, they get a lot of tacos. Discouraged by the lack of prospects, Jack and Haley make a wager to see who can find true love first. But when they agree to be fake dates for a weekend wedding, all bets are off. As they pretend to be a couple, lines become blurred and each struggles to remember, bless you, each struggles to remember why the other was a bad idea to begin with. This sounds so good. So I have said this in previous videos that I like books or storylines where it's people going on a series of really catastrophic disastrous dates, because I think that that's hilarious. So I'm hoping that we'll get some of that in this book. Obviously, I'm pretty sure these two characters are going to end up together in the end. Like, we just know how rom-coms work. Like, there's a formula, we get it. But the process, the journey is the fun part. So very much looking forward to this. Hope this will be another 5-star for me. Next up, we have The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. Now, I bought this book solely off the strength of the cover, like this beautiful black goddess on the dock, like at the beach, like vibes for the summer. But also it says that the main character, I'm pretty sure if I'm not mistaken, is asexual, so obviously I had to get this black beautiful queen that's asexual. Like, obviously, hello. It says Joy is in love with Malcolm, Malcolm wants to date Summer, Summer is in love with Love, and Fox is Summer's ex-boyfriend. That in and of itself sounds like a lot. Like, what? Who? 30, flirty, and asexual, Joy is secretly in love with her best friend Malcolm, but she's never been brave enough to say so. When he unexpectedly announces that he's met the love of his life, and no, it's not Joy, she's heartbroken. Malcolm invites her on a weekend getaway, and Joy decides it's her last chance to show him exactly what he's overlooking. But maybe Joy is the one missing something, or someone, and his name is Fox. Fox sees a kindred spirit in Joy and decides to help her. He proposes they pretend to fall for each other on the weekend trip to make Malcolm jealous. But spending time with Fox shows Joy what it's like to not be the third wheel, and there's no mistaking the way he makes her feel. Could Fox be the romantic partner she's always deserved? This sounds so cute. I can't wait to read this. And then the last, like, happy, cutesy, romance, romantic comedy, whatever vibes kind of book that I have for this haul is The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory, or Gilroy. I think it's Guillory. Yeah. And I, again, don't remember what this is about, but look at this cover. This cover is giving, like, summer vibes. When freelance writer Nicole Patterson goes to a Dodgers game with her actor boyfriend, his man bun, and his bros, the last thing she expects is a scoreboard proposal. Saying no isn't the hard part. They've been dating for only 5 months and he can't even spell her name correctly. The hard part is having to face a stadium full of disappointed fans. At the game with his sister, Carlos Albera comes to Nick's rescue and rushes her away from the camera crew. He's even there for her when the video goes viral and Nick's social media blows up in a bad way. Nick knows that the wilds of LA, a handsome doctor like Carlos can't be looking for anything serious, so she embarks on an epic rebound with him filled with food, fun, and fantastic sex. When their glorified hookups start to break the rules, one of them has to be smart enough to put on the brakes. Interesting. So next up, moving into some of the darker, more toxic side of romance, if you will. I'm not sure if you would call this romance. I'm not sure if you would call this contemporary. I'm not really sure what the genre, what the correct genre is for this. But it was pitched to me as British Gossip Girl. So I didn't need to know anything else. And that is the Magnolia Parks series. Now, I know what you're thinking, the size difference. Hear me out, okay? So they are coming out with, or they announced that they're going to be new covers coming out for these books, I think in August maybe. And if you've seen the new covers, they're hideous. I will insert a picture. They're absolutely hideous. I hate them. And I just feel like this cover in and of itself is like just so iconic that I wanted this one, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to read the series. This was pitched as like British Gossip Girl. I was like, say less. But then when the second book came out, The Long Way Home, I saw this cover and I was like, are they pirates? So I have no idea what this book is about, and I don't want to find out what this book is about because it will probably spoil parts of the first book. But as looking at this cover, I was like, I am not interested in pirates. I'm not going to read a pirate story. So I kind of just like brushed off the series and kind of forgot about it. Then eventually this book came out and I am obsessed with this cover. I think this cover is so cool and it instantly made me want to read the series. I was like, I don't even care what the book is about. I want to read this book. But this is the second book in the Daisy Hates story, which is a spin-off from Magnolia Parks. So all that to say that originally I was not going to read this series, but then this book came out and I kind of was like, all right, it's on my TBR for sure. But I knew that I didn't have any plans to read it anytime soon, so I was like, I'll buy it whenever I'm ready to actually read it. But then they announced that they were going to be changing the covers, and I hate the covers, and so I decided to try to scramble and get the original covers, which was extremely hard to do after they already like discontinued them, because Barnes & Noble and Books A Million and local bookstores, even Amazon, like nobody was selling the original covers. So I was able to get like the last of these two off of Amazon, which is why these are both the same size. These are both the like American covers or the US covers. But I unfortunately ended up having to get these two off of eBay, and these came from Canada, but they are the UK copies, which is why they are bigger. I don't hate the aesthetic of these books together, just because I feel like I kind of like it, honestly. Now, once there are more that will come out, it might kind of ruin it. But like for now, I don't hate the way this looks. Like, because it's like even, you know what I mean? Like the first book and the last book are the tall ones. Like, I'm okay with this. And I'd rather them not be the same size, like for me to have the covers that I want, than for them to be the same size and them be like the really ugly new covers that are coming out. So, in case you are not familiar with what the Magnolia Park series is about, I really can't tell you. I just know that it's British Gossip Girl. That's how it was pitched to me. And the back doesn't really tell you anything. The back just says, how many loves do you get in a lifetime? She's a beautiful, self-involved, and mildly neurotic London socialite. He is Britain's most photographed bad boy who broke her heart. But Magnolia Parks and BJ Ballantyne are meant to be, aren't they? That's literally all it says. So I have no idea what this is about. You had me at Gossip Girl, so. And then for Daisy Hates, I also have no idea what this is about, but this is a spin-off from Magnolia Parks, and there's no synopsis on the back of this. It literally just says, no guns at the dinner table. So your guess is as good as mine. And then the last couple of books that I have are transitioning into even darker storylines. So we're gonna kick it off with some dark academia, and that is going to be Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. And this is a book that I have heard absolutely nothing but fantastic, wonderful things about. I don't know a single person that has read this book that has like reviewed it badly. I'm not saying they don't exist, not saying that they're not out there, but I have personally never come across this. I have only ever heard great things about this, so of course I had to buy it. Do I know when I'm going to read it? Absolutely not. I would like to read it before the end of the year, but is that going to happen? I'm not making any promises. In case you are not familiar with this book, I of course will read the synopsis, and it says, Galaxy Alex Stern is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. Raised in the Los Angeles hinterlands by a hippie mom, Alex dropped out of school early and into a world of shady drug dealer boyfriends, dead-end jobs, and much, much worse. In fact, by age 20, she is the sole survivor of a horrific unsolved multiple homicide. Okay, that definitely did get dark. Some might say she's thrown her life away, but at her hospital bedside, Alex is offered a second chance to attend one of the world's most prestigious universities on a full ride. What's the catch and why her? Still searching for answers, Alex arrives in New Haven. Ooh, New Haven. Oh, that's where I wanted to go to college. Tasked by her mysterious benefactors with monitoring the activities of Yale's secret societies, their 8 windowless tombs, are the well-known haunts of the rich and powerful, from high-ranking politicos to Wall Street's biggest players. But their occult activities are more sinister and more extraordinary than any paranoid imagination might conceive. They tamper with forbidden magic, they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. What is this book? This sounds crazy in a good way. This sounds crazy. I could see why, if this is executed correctly, why people would like really rave about this book. And I heard the second book is even better, which is hard to do. Like, it's easy for an author or a movie or a book, whatever, to like come out with a bang the first time, and then when they go to do like the sequel, it's like kind of a swing and a miss. But from what I've heard, the sequel to this, Hellbent, is also like equally as good. So another series that I am looking forward to getting to at some point. Next up, another, I think this is considered horror, but it's like comedy also, like it's like a funny horror book, and that is Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilmer. Do I remember what this is about? No, but I remember when this came out. Either was it last year when it came out or early this year? I can't remember when it came out, but it's a book that I've had on my TBR for a really long time, and I like funny books. I want to get into horror, so I feel like this is a good kind of way to like dip my feet into horror. The only horror books that I've read ever is The Hunger and Tender as the Flesh, that I did a whole vlog for. But yeah, other than that, I have not read any horror books, so I want to get more into that, especially as we get further like into the fall, like spooky season. So this says, a Chicago cul-de-sac is about to get a new neighbor, of the demonic kind. Amy Foster considers herself lucky. After she left the city and moved to the suburbs, she found her place quickly with neighbors Liz, Jess, and Melissa, snarking together from the outskirts of the PTA crowd. One night during their monthly wine get-together, the crew concocted a plan for a clubhouse, the She Shed, in Liz's backyard, a space for just them, no spouses or kids allowed. But the night after they christened the She Shed, things started to feel off. They didn't expect Liz's little home improvement project to release a demonic force that turns their quiet enclave into something out of a nightmare. And that's before the homeowners association gets wind of it. Together, Amy, Jess, and Melissa must fight the evil spirit to save Liz and the neighborhood before the suburb goes completely to hell. interesting. I hope this is going to be a fun time. I'm not expecting to be like scared by this, but I am expecting to like have fun reading this, so hopefully it delivers. Next up is Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix, and I have heard very mixed reviews when it comes to this book. Originally I was hearing really great things, and then I started hearing some not so great things, so I don't really know what to expect. I was told that this is basically a book about final girls, like actual final girls from like slasher movies, so like Halloween or like Scream, Texas Chainsaw, and they literally have like a support group, and then I think one of them goes missing or is killed or something, and they're basically in a horror movie all over again trying to survive, which I think is really cool because I'm a big fan of slasher movies. So I think that idea of having like the final girls from all of like my favorite slasher movies together in a group, that just sounds amazing. It says, in horror movies, the final girls are the ones left standing when the credits roll. They made it through the worst night of their lives, but what happens after? Lynette Tarkington is a real-life girl who survived a massacre. For more than a decade, she's been meeting with 5 other final girls and their therapists in a support group for those who endured the unthinkable, working to put their lives back together. Then, one woman misses a meeting and Lynette's worst fears are realized. Someone knows about the group and is determined to rip their lives apart again, piece by piece. But the thing about final girls is that no matter how bad the odds, how dark the night, how sharp the knife, they will never ever give up. I'm excited to read this. I've had this on my TBR for a while, and I definitely plan on getting to this year. But we'll see. And last but certainly not least, we're getting into full-blown horror territory, and that is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. I know absolutely nothing about this book. I've never read anything by Eric LaRocca. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this is an anthology, so it's like a collection of short stories, short horror stories. 3 devastating, beautifully written horror stories from one of the genre's most cutting-edge voices. What have you done today to deserve your eyes? I'm sorry, what? What do you mean? Gonna fall over like a Tower of Pisa. Is that what it's called? And that is it. Those are all the books in this haul, and I thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, let me know down below if you have read any of these books, or if you plan to read any of these books, if you want to buddy read any of these books, just anything about any of these books. Just comment that down below. And as always, my socials and links and all that will be down below in the description box. And be sure to subscribe if you are not already subscribed. I would love to have you as part of the group, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.